Joining me now for our regular conversation about teens is Allie Payne, and we are jumping into a big topic this week about trust and social media. So, Allie, let's jump in.
Yeah,
How do we build that trust?
this is okay. So, this is what I relate it to dieting and parenting. They're the same. We can take a quick fix pill for the diet, right? Or we try, lose weight overnight. You'll feel better overnight. And as parenting, what that looks like is often greater control, more rules, removing all their technology. And we're trying to create a quick result and fix it. And it actually creates far more stress and disconnection. So when it comes to social media as a parent, I absolutely understand the level of fear that happens in parents in our generation because we did not grow up with smartphones. We did not grow up with all of these social media apps in which our lives are broadcast to the world. And that is terrifying. It's terrifying. Just the thought of my child posting something that someone would know where they are or whatever, it's terrifying. But here's the thing, just because we're afraid does not mean that controlling is going to alleviate the problem. When we try to control, we do the complete opposite. So we are better to, instead of removing the app or spying on our kids, because deceit does not build trust. Deceit has never built trust. We need to be in conversation with our kids to teach them what's appropriate and what's not, and go over things with them as opposed to spying on or controlling their world.
Right. So I've heard sort of conflicting approaches to this I suppose problem. Some parents insist that they can see their children's social media at any time they ask for it.
Mhm.
Some parents insist that their kids follow them on social media. What is the best way, I suppose, to introduce social media to kids and to build that trust with your kids so that they can talk to you about what's happening.
Right. So what I would say, if I let's say if I could go back and I had a 10-year-old now, my kids are older teenagers now. If I had a 10-year-old right now, and I kind of like what we did, what I would do is I would create a Snapchat account. For instance, Snapchat, because that's a big one because it disappears, right? I would create a Snapchat account and I would start to go over how Snapchat works with them on my account, or we could use it together or something to show them how things disappear, how people can put things up and there's no tracing it. Why is that a good thing and why is that a bad thing? What does it mean to have a private account? What kind of things do I see and why do you like them? What's interesting to you about that? Same with Instagram. Same with, I would create the account first as a very young child and then start showing them and going through it. Then let them create their own account at an age I felt was appropriate, which is not the same for every child. And do the same thing. Stay in conversation. Why is this important? Talk to them about the dangers of it and totally be upfront and honest if you're afraid.
Yeah,
Let them
most
know.
most kids have these spam accounts. I mean, I know my daughters have them. They have their Instagram accounts that I'm allowed to follow, that
Yes.
that, that I'm permitted to see what they've posted. But they also have spam accounts that I don't see, don't have access to. But at the age that they're at now, I feel quite comfortable because, as I said to you prior to this interview, I talked with my girls early and often about what could
Yes.
happen on social media. And because I work in the
Hmm.
space, I do understand a little bit about some of those private DMs and things that get sent to people.
Yes.
And now it's funny because they come to me and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, mom, like you wouldn't believe this message I got." And I'm glad that they
Right.
do because they recognize it and they'll talk to me about it.
Right. And these
Much better
kinds
than
of
hiding
open,
it.
right, rather than hiding it, these kinds of open, honest conversations are really critical because, to your point just there, which I just got one the other day, some gross message, he's a doctor, but he wants to know if I'm married. Like, really? Come on. But here's the thing, when your teenagers share that kind of stuff with you, teenage girls in particular, right now, we're talking about, you you didn't shame them for someone else's behavior. Okay, like not like, oh well, you shouldn't have attracted that. No, that person's behavior, which is creepy and gross, is their problem. So they feel safe bringing that to you. And that's because of these conversations. I do think parents should follow their kids on social, at least the accounts they know about. And we've had multiple conversations in my house about what's appropriate. So when they were young, all their accounts had to be private. They could never post a picture or profile photo of their own face or anyone else's in who was a minor. They could not. And we had lots of conversations about this. And there's no quick fix. And it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be terrified for your gorgeous child. And it's okay to tell them that. It's okay to say, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what might happen. And so I want to control, but I know that that's not going to work. So please, can we be in conversation about this? Because again, controlling out of fear builds deceit and it removes trust. And spying on your kid or your teenager is not helpful at all. It builds anxiety. And I'll tell you what, they will not appreciate you in the way that you would like them to.
Yeah, and that's not what we're looking for. So I'm
No.
sure this is a huge problem for a lot of parents listening. And if they want to connect with you, Allie, and talk about this or find more resources from you about this, where can they go?
Absolutely. They can find me on my website, www.alliepayne.com, or on Instagram, TikTok at Allie Payne, probably the fastest ways.
Okay, excellent. Thanks so much, Allie. We'll see you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.